He is the man who owns all these cars, which many of you have seen in our display case outside. Hi, it's Tony from Hearns. Welcome to a very special event this morning. I've been playing with toy cars for a long time, but the guy that we've got in here today has been doing it even longer than me, although he's been out of it a while. In total, I think I win. Doesn't matter. When I first started racing back in the middle 80s, this guy's name was everyone, oh, you wait till you see this guy. As it happened, I already had seen him race, but I didn't know. However, he is the man who owns all these cars, which many of you have seen in our display case outside. He gave these cars to us to display, and they represent some amazing history in RC world. I'll bring him on now. If you want to wander in now, you big tall bastard, you could please everyone welcome Craig Bowring, whose head is sticking up a little bit above the monitor, I noticed.
Scoot down a bit.
I don't reckon you can do that for an hour.
We'll give it a go.
Mate, it's good to have you in here.
Thanks, Tony.
We've been talking about doing this for some time.
We have? Yeah.
But it's just hasn't quite worked out, and I've come in on my day off to do this.
Much appreciated.
Well,
I'm kind of working.
All right, let's do the usual. What was your first car? A 12 scale?
Yeah, associated RC12E.
A 12E is your first car?
Yep.
A 12 scale car is not an easy car when you're learning.
That was the only thing that I knew. There was a hobby shop in Blackburn where I lived, Brian Andrews Hobbies.
Never heard of it.
I think we got it from there. Probably not a lot of choice.
I suppose there wasn't anything but 12 scales back then.
Pretty much so. Yeah.
There were really no buggies or anything.
No.
We're talking 80...
I reckon I would have got that in the late 70s.
Late 70s.
I reckon.
Because it would have been 8 scale, like RC 500 or something, I think, and 12 scale, and that was it.
That was it, yep.
There was nothing else.
There's no off-road that I knew of.
No,
yep.
I don't think there was.
And there was hardly any tracks. I started just driving the 12E up and down the street.
Yeah.
In the avenue in Blackburn. I became very proficient about ripping it up and down the street and turning it into the driveway.
You would have had to jack the ride height up quite a bit.
Exactly. So.
Gee, I can't imagine going to a 12 scale for your first, but you were young. You would have been...
Teenager of some sort.
Yeah, so you'd have the good reactions and
yep.
everything and that.
So.
And I can't drive a 12 scale now, and I've never been able to drive one. They're just too quick for me.
So I suppose there was since we weren't driving on a track, it didn't matter. There's not a lot of reference until we started driving on a track.
The only track I know back then was Chadstone.
Yep.
And for those who don't, Chadstone is a big shopping centre in Melbourne, and there was a 12 scale track that was in the car park.
Yeah, in the corner of McDonald's.
Yeah.
Which is now a multi-storey car park.
Yeah, because I remember I drove down there one day with a couple of my mates with, toy car racing. So we pulled in and stopped. My mate had a Corolla panel van that was painted silver with tritone blue graphics, the AYK colours.
Yep.
So Mr. Collings,
yeah.
Can I take a photo of mate?
Yep.
So we actually stayed there for a while and watched it. I'm going, and you would have been at that meeting.
Probably, because there was a track just near me in Blackburn at what was called then Old Orchard Shopping Centre.
Okay.
Which is now North Blackburn Square.
Yeah.
Again, just car park, fire hose with board in it, laid out every Sunday. So yeah, that was the initiation, because if you got the corner wrong, you hit the board.
Yeah.
And
your dad had to fix it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, then the dad came in and stuck it back togetger somehow.
I do remember your dad. I talked to him a couple of times in the early days. I thought he was a great guy.
Yeah.
Really good. I just used to like talking to him.
Well, he came from engineering background.
Yeah.
Racing Austin 7s. And went to the UK 1958, 59, 60. And obviously Austin 7s are very low-powered cars, so weight...
I would have said no-powered cars.
Yeah, exactly right. So weight was always critical, and car setup. And that was a huge advantage with Dad building and setting up the cars for.
He knew his shit.
Absolutely. So
Did you do any work on the cars back then?
not at that point, no.
No.
You know,
He wasn't going to trust you.
No, I was just a fly-in driver.
I like the fact that now you've evolved way beyond that to the point where you know what you're doing.
Relatively.
There was a point in my racing career when I knew what I was doing, but now it's going down the other end of the bell curve. I've forgotten everything.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So,
but that's all right. I'll just give it to someone else in the Hearns team. Fix this, will you?
Yeah,
I can't be bothered.
The cars were pretty basic too. 12E.
12E didn't have much to it.
No. So, and strong was good because we hit gutters and boards.
Yeah.
So, but I think I only had one body, and it was a silver Porsche 917.
Which is what Tim builds big ones of.
Yeah, yes, exactly. So, and then I progressed because I was a car racing fan. We got a Frewer Commodore body and ran that, painted it in Holden Dealer Team colours. And yeah, aero wasn't important. We were just having fun. Until we went to Chadstone.
And then
it became...
Because then you're racing against Greg Collings.
Who
knew what he was doing.
Yep. Guy called Frank Malerba.
Don't know him.
Frankie Phelan.
Frank Phelan, I know. Yeah.
Ooh, Patrick Tuffer.
Patrick, yes.
Alan Tuffer.
Patrick and Alan, yeah, I know them.
The Bass family. Jeff Bass.
You're doing pretty good so far.
They were very good. I'd have to think.
I know Greg was running AYKs.
Yep. Yeah, I was always associated.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we went there with the 12E, but then the 12I came out. Yep.
So Dad stumped up the cash. We need one of these.
Yeah, exactly.
What electronics? Do you remember?
It was still resistor speed control.
Oh.
Back then. And obviously we were good friends with the Bilby family from Vega RC down in Geelong.
Yes, I've noticed Dennis liking a lot of the posts that I've put up in the last couple of days on the Vintage Bash. Dennis is right onto them.
I've been having a chat to Dennis, haven't spoken to him for a long time. So we always used KO. Whether we bought it or Eric gave it to us, I have no idea.
That was for Dad to organise.
Yeah, exactly right. So
KO stuff's still good, but it's not in favour anymore.
Okay.
There's too many other manufacturers, and KO are sort of stuck.
Yep. And I think too, Dennis had the first trigger steering wheel.
Yep.
And people said, oh, they're never going to take off. And then I got the second one, and then it was a very fast transformation.
Like everyone got
from
one.
sticks through to steering wheel radios.
Yeah, Masami would say you don't need to do that.
He's a bit of an exception.
Yeah, well, can you drive with your feet? He still can. I saw a video from just a few weeks ago where he's sitting on a chair on the side of the track driving with his feet, and he was going quicker than what I go with the real radio. I'm just going, yeah, he's just a freak.
Yes, absolutely.
But that's so good. There's a lot of talk now about people are saying, oh, when are they going to bring out vintage radios? The old radios, but with new internals.
Yep.
So you've still got two. Well, I mean, stuff like EX10. Brett loves this.
Oh, I was talking to Neil Millard last night, and I gave him my KO old radio. So, Neil, we might have to do some retro work. So,
well, that could be the way it goes. I'm pretty sure that if they brought out old radios with new internals, they'd sell 1 billion of them.
Probably.
Because then you've got the authentic look.
Yep, with modern.
Yeah, I mean, I'd do it.
Yeah, for sure.
In a heartbeat. Possibly even sticks. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not going to sticks.
You're not going to sticks?
No, I did buy a simulator off Ray Wood years ago up in Sydney. I used to pop in and see him.
You can wave to Ray because he'll be watching this.
Yeah, good. So, and I really enjoyed that, but then I just got so busy with work, and parked it. But I'll probably drag it back out again. So if
it works.
Yeah, exactly. But it wasn't that long ago. So, because we used to go flying with Charlie Vella.
Yeah.
Many
used to work at Orchard's Hobbies.
Orchard Hobbies with Peter Orchard.
And, unfortunately, both of whom are long gone.
Exactly. So.
That's kind of sad. A lot of because certainly I got. Did I get my first car off Peter? No, I got my first car off Metro Hobbies.
Okay.
Which for me was a hot shot in '85, I think.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, because I went, what's the best one?
I was kind of fortunate. I got everything. I became sponsored by Dawn Trading. And Ian Bannister and Carl Melvey.
Yep.
And so everything was associated based, or everything was done through that business.
So let's go back now. So you were doing 12 scale here.
Yep.
And you were obviously approaching a national level fairly quickly, from what I remember.
I was doing some research, and I found a whole lot of stuff when I applied to go to the World Titles in 1984. And it was 1982 Junior, New South Wales Showgrounds, some little track in a Horton Pavilion, if my memory serves me correctly. And I did finish in the A main as well. I don't know where.
What surface?
Bitumen.
Bitumen, okay.
But rough.
Yeah, not really, not manicured.
No, definitely not. So, and again, I'm pretty sure it was boards because it was only set up. Did really well there, and then continued on.
Motors.
Always Reedy.
Always Reedy.
At that point.
What sort of turn?
Oh, wouldn't have a clue. Would not have a clue.
I'm asking this because other people are going to say, "Why didn't you ask him?" Yeah.
I actually have, which I found when Defina was annoying me.
Which is 24/7.
Which is a relatively common event.
Yeah.
My box of motors.
Yeah.
There's no motors in it. I don't know what happened to them, but they actually have which motor I used at which events and the turns. So we could actually work it out.
We could find that out.
But there'll be 20-something turns.
Yeah.
Double, triple, and quad wind.
Yeah.
Of multiple different sizes of wire.
And back then we're running 6-cell Sanyo.
Yep.
Red SCRs?
I think they were yellow.
Or yellow.
Yep.
Hang on.
They're still in it.
There's some in here. I saw that the other day. And there's no... These must be pretty shonky because there's no lettering on them.
Understandable. We won't look too hard at those.
We won't look too... Yeah, that's a bit of a worry. At least they're not like my LiPo from the weekend.
Exactly.
So... Okay, yeah, yellow Sanyo. Yeah, that's right, because they were yellow cells initially for me, and then they went to the red SCRs, and we're all, these are much faster because they're red.
Yes. I don't remember the red ones, but I've seen pictures on the internet, so I must have...
You must have run them.
Had them at some stage.
Yeah, because there was only a very short period for me in 85 or something, whatever it was, running the yellow ones, and then it went straight to the red ones. But there was also, there were green SAFT cells, but they were not stable.
Correct.
And they didn't last forever.
Yeah, there was a GE ones, but nothing was ever as good as the
Zanyos were just like far and away. Now do they even make them? I don't know.
Wouldn't have a clue. And they were always an odd size, sub-C.
Yeah. Well, who came up with that idea? That was a weird thing.
Exactly.
All right, so we're talking then, what happened to send you over to the US?
Continued racing here in Australia from 82. And then, I think it was getting reasonably popular. Maryland's Dave Smith.
Yeah. And you're racing guys like Rodney Denning and Jonathan Borthwick.
Yep. Rick
Bartolozzi.
Yep. Greenwich's.
Yep.
Stuart Grant popped in for a few 12th scale guest appearances from his 8th scale.
Yeah, Stuart was mainly an 8th scale wing, and it's his father, John, who the big track up there is named after, and rightfully so.
Yes. So we did we raced everywhere. You
were just spending all your time on the road.
Yeah, that's right.
Racing.
School holidays, I'd jump on a bus. Couldn't afford any other way. I didn't have a licence. Go to Sydney and stay with Ray. All good. So it was a great time with Ray.
Yes.
That's for sure.
We're not going to be disparaging about Ray. He's a fine guy.
Very character building. So.
Oh, yeah.
And Ray, I remember, I think we ran the same channel because we used to have the peg board.
Yeah.
And
always people yelling out, somebody on my channel.
It's like, who's on 12? I think it was. I'm sure Ray will remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was great, and he just took me everywhere. And I suppose that's when we started playing with off-road as well. I think St Ives was up there.
Which is where the 89 Worlds were.
Yep. And there's a couple of others, so hence the RC10, so associated with 84. They released, correct?
Yes.
Yep.
Because last year was the 40th anniversary edition of the RC10, all 37 variations of it.
Exactly. So,
excuse me for being cynical, AE, but... You're trying to milk that one a bit.
Anyway, so we're still racing on road. Used to go to Brisbane as well and stay with the Williams family. And they had a brand of car, a Lexan car, like the early Shoemaker.
I like the early Shoemakers.
Yep. TE, something. Jeez. Yeah. TE4 or something.
I could never work out those Lexan cars, but the Shoemaker, that was the C car, I think.
Something like that.
Yeah. And they worked.
Yeah. They were great.
We got a lot to thank Cecil for. He was a real innovator.
Absolutely.
He did weird things. And
Lovely guy too. So I actually met him in '84 in Denmark.
Okay. At the Worlds.
At the Worlds. Yep. So, but yeah, getting back, still racing 12 scales and probably playing with 8 scale cars with Dennis and Eric.
Yeah.
And I think
because basically you would have raced anything back then. You didn't care.
Yeah, exactly. So Eric would build the cars and the motors. I think OS supplied the motors.
Yeah.
And they were fantastic. And Geelong and Crossroads, I reckon, was the only place I would have raced those.
Geelong was out the back of the hardware store.
No, it was out at a civic centre. A civic centre out at the backside of Geelong. Oh. The hardware store was a 12 scale
12 scale track,
yep.
That's right.
So, yep. Yeah, so we did that, and obviously, off-road. So we got the Associated or Dawn Trading, courtesy of Ian, supplied an RC10. And this is the original car.
Yeah, well, we're going to, seeing as we're talking about that, we're going to bring up here. I'll turn it around because the top camera will take care of all this for me. So this is as it came off the track at whatever your last event was.
And this car stayed in Australia. When I went to the States, I never raced off-road cars, so it was purely on-road. So this car was left in Australia, so it would have, whatever its last event was.
That's it.
This is it. So,
still got a servo in it. There's a few bits missing, though.
Yeah, don't know what happened there. So
luckily enough, we can probably easily get hold of those. So this is, now the carbon is non-standard. Now, I kept hearing rumours that your dad got that from somewhere.
Yeah.
But I don't know where he would have got it from with a kick-up, though.
Yeah, it's pretty early for a kick-up, isn't it?
Could it be a composite craft one? I'm not sure.
Could be. Not a clue. So
I don't really know, but this is dead simple, and people are loving this sort of thing. I like the little braces from there to there to keep the bulkhead steady.
Yep. Again, that was all Dad.
Yeah. Because he loved doing this shit.
Oh, yeah, exactly right.
Alloy steering.
Yep.
That would have been aftermarket. The shock towers are not standard either.
No.
And that's, God, that's thin.
Yeah. So, but we never broke anything. Yeah, this thing was bulletproof.
Did you enjoy the challenge of off-road? Because it was so different.
It was great. So,
yeah.
Templestowe was, getting going. Todd Cameron had done so much work.
Toddy.
Little Todd. So that was going, gangbusters. So, and it was, I lived in Blackburn, Templestowe.
So it's nice and close by.
Yeah, exactly right. So
this is a later edition, big 2.2-inch rims.
Yep, no idea. So
yeah, I know. Yeah, but you've still got the standard RC10 wheels on the front with these chevron pattern things.
I've still got a box of spares for this car at home. So there's more wheels in there and a few other things.
It's astonishing to believe that the RC10 legacy, I mean, every second car now is something to do with RC10. There's people doing $1,500 versions of it.
Oh, wow. So,
JC Racing in the UK, they've got the JC10, and it's got absolutely the best of everything.
Okay.
And I look at it and go, that's a nice car, but I'm not paying $1,500 for an RC10.
Yep.
But it just shows the impact the RC10 had.
Oh, it's a fabulous car. So
I remember the first time I saw one was at Keilor. At the time, AYK Bobcats were the car to have, and Rob Bishop turned up with the first RC10.
Yep.
And just blew everybody away.
Yep. So
the next meeting,
everyone had one.
Everyone had RC10, including me.
Yep.
I got two.
So,
I don't know where I had the money to buy two.
So I just got the one. It still is. It's one of these.
Yeah, it's just been a long time since I've been looking for antenna holes.
The Art Deco paint job. So
yeah, that's
yep.
Done by you or Dad?
Yeah. I painted all the bodies.
Yeah.
So, yep.
This is so many people have come look at this in display. Was that for sale? No. So, don't even think about it. It's not for sale. This is a part of Australian RC history. You got to try and run this at the bash.
I was talking to Aaron the other night about it.
Yeah.
So
you run this.
Do we build another one, the same, or do we get this one going? Not sure.
Part of me wants you to run this, but the smart part of me says no, because you're going to have to do so much to this.
That's exactly
now that we've
right.
discovered there's bits missing for a start.
We need to preserve this one.
I think it needs to be to stay as it is. You don't want to mess with the history of this. It's a great thing to have in the cabinet there.
Yeah, and everyone can come and see it, enjoy it.
Yeah. Let's talk a bit about in the States. What prompted you to go over there? Were you asked to go over there, or
I went over after the Worlds in '84. A big eye opener. First carpet race, 12I. I think it was only me. Dad and I went. There was no one else from Australia. So I got to meet Reedy, Gene Hustings. Never really, Roger was always around, but I didn't always. Gene was the prominent, and Mike.
And Curtis would have been there, but only
Curtis was probably similar age to me.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. So we did that, and met Mike Lavico, Kent Clawson. Back then, they were fantastic.
These are all names a lot of the people watching this won't know, but these are legends in American RC racing.
Oh, absolutely. So, so we did. I can't even remember where I finished. I'd love to look it up and see where I came. So
I reckon that's a job for Scotty Guyatt. Come on, you've got all the results from everything everywhere. So find out where he came.
That would be good. We're going to have a chat with Scotty in the near future as well, so looking forward to that. So that was good. Came back to Australia after that, and then went to Vegas in '86. Trekked off by myself. Jonathan and Barry Korf were already there, and I think someone else as well. Anyway, and I'm sure Jonathan will laugh. I think we had the room had 2 double beds and 4 guys.
Oh, good.
In it. So we managed, we didn't have any money. And Jonathan was fantastic. He got us some sponsorship from Qantas at the time to ease with the airfare, which was fantastic. So at that race, and I had no idea, because I've still got the body from that race, the world's body. And it didn't fit any car I had. It didn't fit a 12L, it didn't fit a 12I. And I asked Jonathan a couple of weeks ago, what car did we run? And one of the old articles he'd written is both Jonathan and I were given a prototype RC 12L, hence why the bodies didn't fit anything I had. So I've kind of morphed up my 12L.
Wheelbase would still be the same, but just the body mounting.
Just the body mounting.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I've kind of retrofitted the body on my 12L just to make it look and smell like it should.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we obviously built those cars probably in the hotel room, and ran them. And
which is standard for everybody at a big event. Let's build the car in the hotel room.
So we did that. Did okay. 7th in the C main, I think. Not bad.
Because unfamiliar territory, unfamiliar car.
Yep. And a carpet again. Only the second time I'd ever driven on carpet.
And it's so different.
It is. So that was great. And then from that, I extended my stay. Mike Reedy had said, "Can you come back, to California?" So I extended the stay for a week. Went back and went to the Associated Factory, and then we kind of
with big wide eyes.
Yeah. Well, I think it was
because you were still a kid.
Yeah, it wasn't that big back then. I think it was split. It was like a factory complex, and there were small factories.
Everything was actually made in the US then.
Yeah, that's right. And Mike had his motor section, and the assembly and kits were somewhere else. Didn't really take a lot of notice, just a kid.
Yeah.
Had a great time, stayed with Mike for the week.
Yeah, just notice that. He stayed with Mike Reedy.
So that was the first time. Anyway, so I flew back to Australia, had lots of new stuff, and continued racing. Always at that time we'd formatted the plan. I said, if you can, come back and race in the States.
Yeah.
So then I came back, I think I was still at school. Finished school, then started working here at Hearns.
See, he's an ex-employee, so he gets a discount.
19 whatever it was, for Doug and Roe, Dorrit.
And they were the ones they were the second owners of it was the Hearns brothers, then Doug and Roe, and now it's Nick Poltronieri. So 78 years, 3 owners.
Yeah, fantastic.
Good. Yeah.
So I don't think I was working for a year, and then then it was 87.
What RC stuff was here? There would have only been, hang on, there would have been Tamiya cars.
Tamiya cars,
Tamiya cars.
Yep.
Yeah, by then.
Yep.
Not so, probably no 12 scales.
No, just nothing. Still wasn't popular.
Yeah.
Off-road was the big one.
So you would have been, right at the beginning of the Grasshopper, Hornet, Hot Shot, all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
ACOMS radios.
Yep. And I remember, people would buy the car and they'd you know, the speed control would overheat, so they'd bring them back and solder a new speed control in for them. You know, those old rotary 3 or 4 stage ones.
I'm still doing that now, just with electronic ones.
Yeah, so it was great. You know, a great sounding board. First job out of school.
Yeah, basically, like me, you were getting paid to play with toy cars.
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty hard to beat that.
Yes, it's pretty good. So then trundled off to the States in '87, I think it was.
With no real idea what you were going to do, just that I should go over here and see.
That's right. Didn't know what I was going to do with Associated. You know, they said I'll come over.
And went, okay.
And we tried to get a visa and things like that, near impossible. So anyway, jumped on a plane, had a one-way ticket, but the ticket was to the UK, and I just got off in LA as a stopover.
And never got back on.
never got back on.
That's possibly the dodgiest thing I've heard you do, and I've heard of you doing dodgy things.
So this has been the odd one.
How the hell did you get away with that?
Well, I got pulled up by US Customs, and I got grilled. You know, when are you going to leave? So,
did they at any stage put a rubber glove on?
No.
Okay, just thought I'd check.
All good. So anyway, so I got in. So that was okay. And some people I'd met at the '86 Worlds, Fernando Belair and Tara Bowring, and they were racing. They were racers as well from California. So I think they picked me up, and then I ended up staying with Mike again for, I reckon, 3 months.
What was Mike like? Because he's just a godlike figure to all of us, but I know nothing about him.
He was a really lovely guy.
I thought he might be.
Very quiet. Because he did come to Australia in 86, I reckon he came, when I was running that car.
Okay.
So he came out and, that was, it had to be because I was driving and I had my licence.
Okay.
But yeah, Mike was lovely. He loved popcorn. So it's his snack, popcorn, just a very...
You heard it here first.
And he always had a very specific way of making it, and it was very tasty.
Okay. Then why aren't you a fat bastard?
So Mike was pretty skinny too.
Yeah.
But Mike, I'm pretty sure was a workaholic because I didn't see him that much. You know, I'd be going to work during the day as well.
Yeah.
Because he lived not far from Associated. So that was great. And
he knew his stuff.
Oh yeah, yep. Yeah,
he did slot car stuff motors first, didn't he?
I'm not sure.
That's what I have a vague memory of hearing that.
But yeah, very mild guy, knowledgeable, just quiet. You know, those quiet achievers.
Sort of a Yoda.
Yeah, exactly. So it all started, you know, I was working at Associated.
Doing what at Associated?
Just doing all sorts of things.
You were the job slut, basically.
Yeah, exactly. You know, they had they were making the Lexan bodies at that part, and Mike's motor section was here, and there's stuff. And they would move to the new factory at that point.
Okay.
Anyway, so, that was good. It was a great grounding, and then I kind of was travelling along, and then I moved out of Mike's and went to and stayed with Fernando and Tara and Fernando's wife at the time, and that was great. But that was away, so I couldn't go to work.
Okay.
So then I started working for Mike and Cindy Walker at Twister Motors in Glendora, which was not far from Fernando's, and also Fernando had a battery matching business, Pro-Cell, and he'd a very early adopter of the Lavco discharger.
So we've got banks of Lavco cell masters.
Correct. Yep. I think he had, I don't know how many he had.
How did that come into my head that I knew what it was called?
I had no idea what it was called.
Now I remember, because I had the compact one.
Yep.
But not the one that did lots and lots at once.
So anyway, we, that was the weekend job, and after hours getting extra money, working at Twister Motors was great.
And you were winding armatures?
Not a lot. Donnie was there doing that at the time, and I'd always have a bit of a play. I think.
How the hell do you learn how to do that?
Just watching Donnie.
So it's just.
Yeah, they had a little machine, put it in, and you'd have to change the wire for the spool, depending on what you were doing.
Is it one thing that's always been like doing a quad wind? Is that like 4 times as hard?
No, it was not that difficult.
Okay.
It didn't seem that difficult. I was relatively okay at it. Nowhere near as good as the professional guys, but I had the time, so I could always play and make whatever I needed to make, with the support of Mike and Cindy. We could do anything.
You just got a blank.
That's right.
Or whatever you want.
We were soldering the capacitors on the bell housings, the brushes on. then we would do the final assembly and balancing. And for years, I had metal all through my fingers from the balancer. I did that for the whole time at that point.
And that meant the money kept coming in.
That's
so
right.
You were able, and how often were you racing?
As often as possible.
Yeah.
There's lots of races at the ranch pit shop.
Yeah.
The big events were always...
Home of Losi, for those who don't know, surely everyone does.
Yes. And we'd go, there was a couple of other tracks, there was some in car parks around the place, and Fernando would come and pick me up.
Yeah.
The big ones, Lake Whippoorwill, we did the first invitational event.
Which is sadly now gone, Whippoorwill.
It was fantastic. Most fun we've ever had at a race meeting.
Yeah.
Considering I did pretty well down there too, so
that helps.
It
always makes it a lot easier.
That does help
if you're actually doing all right.
But at this stage, I'd moved away from Associated and Reedy, only because of location-wise.
Yeah.
Really, just wasn't practical. And working for Mike, we were running Twister motors, and Twister at that stage was very big in the dirt oval. From memory,
Twister motors were very big back then. I remember Australian agent was Mr. Collins.
Yep.
And he was selling a heap of the
Yeah,
bastards.
they were great. And I reckon I could still read the codes on the motors because most of them had been my coding.
Yeah. Is that written on the armature?
No, it's written on both. It'll be on the armature and on the outside.
Okay.
So we did that, and we were making motors hand over fist.
Yeah.
I do remember Greg, Andy, also for Fazak coming over for a visit at one stage.
Yeah, you prompted me when you put it on the bash page last night. It was for Zach, because I was looking at him and go, I know that dude, but I can't remember who it was.
Yep.
But it was a long time ago. I'm like, for Zach, of course.
Yeah. So we did that.
I'm going to have to get in contact with him. He's on Facebook. I found him last night.
Yep.
So I'm going to have to suck him in.
Nice. We did all the big events. A couple of US Nationals, 87 and 88.
And I've got some photos that you sent me, which I'm going to try and splice them into this later. I'll get Matt to fix that up. So you in A mains.
Jonathan reminded me that I actually did 2 US Nationals. The first one when I went over, I didn't make the modified A main, but I did the stock. I think I finished 7th, I think he said. And then if anyone's interested, there's a lot of, if you YouTube Gene Hustings videos, there's lots of, and Gene had a video camera, I had no idea, from the 70s. And there's some great footage of all the American race meetings.
Oh, and so it's not just porn then?
No. So it's model car porn, and it's really good. And there's
all right, Gene Hustings, Gene.
And they're all, and he actually takes a video of the results, so you can see the results. And there's 88.
There'd be some names.
I was in the A main.
Tony Neisinger would be in
Tony
there.
Neisinger, Buddy Bartos, Kent Corson, Mike Lavico, Frank Killam.
Yeah. These are the names that I was just seeing as I was starting, because I'd get Competition Plus magazine, which was really good because it kept you up to date, even though it was 3 months behind.
Yes.
So I'd pour through all those and go, oh wow.
Yep.
And occasionally I'd see your name. Yeah, I know him.
Yeah. So we had a great time. And Mike would, pay for me to go to those race meetings.
Yeah.
Pay for the airfare and the hotel.
Factory.
It was fantastic. I said, just a kid.
And you're going, how good is this?
Yeah, exactly. And we had lots of fun at those events as well.
You've got to be really happy that you've got those memories of something like that.
To be honest with you, I'd forgotten. And it was only when Aaron started annoying me.
This is a recurring theme, Defina annoying people. Really.
It's one consistency with Aaron. But no, it's great. So I started looking stuff up, and as I said, this is when I discovered these Gene Hustings videos.
Yeah,
and,
I'm going to have to have a look for those.
Because when I left America, I had lots of trophies. I couldn't bring them back.
No.
But I did bring the Ranch Pit Shop TQ modified A main. Didn't do too well in the event, seventh or eighth, but pole position at the Ranch Pit Shop.
Driving
Lucas car.
The Lucas cars.
Yep.
Now most people will never have heard of a Lucas car.
Yep.
I only vaguely know of one. So we're talking a
12 scale.
12 scale.
I had 12th and 10th.
12th and 10th, and the pan chassis.
Yep. Yeah. Lucas. I came across Lucas because he was modifying all the team associated cars. He'd come up with a revised rear end to make them handle much better on those high grip tracks.
Yeah.
And it was a game changer. And
So if you didn't have a Lucas car, you were screwed.
If you didn't have a Lucas modified car, because I don't think he was making cars at that point.
Okay.
So, and then the time I left Associated was SRS Raceway, Arizona, 1987, I think. And I actually used a peak performance motor at that event as well. And I can't remember whether I had the full Lucas car or Lucas had modified the 12L. Anyway, actually, pretty sure I won the event, and Rick was second, but I can't find any results.
Yeah.
And I don't have any trophies or anything.
Yeah.
I threw them all out.
That one will be a bit harder for Mr. Guy to find out.
That'll be, hopefully, because it was a Raw Region 6 event.
There'll be something.
So, and they've got some pretty good documentation.
Yeah.
But happy to stand corrected because it was a long time ago.
A long time ago. Yeah, I'm surprised you remembered how to get in here.
Yeah, so that was easy. Only a few train stations.
Yeah.
So then, as I travelled around to the major events, lots of local events in California.
It's a sort of experience that a kid at your age back then, you just can't get that. It's such a great thing to have as part of your legacy and go, oh, wow, I remember doing that.
Yep.
And now it's all coming back because you're hanging around with us and shit's coming back into your head.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, I talked to Tara in California, quite often, and sent her some funny pictures of my old hairstyles and a few funny memories of the day, which are all great. And then I came back to Australia because the Worlds were on in Europe in 88, was it?
It was 87 was in England.
Yep.
That's where Joel and Masami won.
Yep. And because I couldn't leave America and come back, I would have had to go US, Europe, home.
Okay.
That was because I did end up having a visa.
Yeah.
But that was, I couldn't
couldn't
re-enter
just come
the US.
straight back.
So, so I stayed in the US, and then at a certain point in '88, decided to come home.
Yeah.
So.
Which was convenient because it means you were here '89 for the Worlds at St Ives.
Yep. As Neil reminded me, sent a picture last night.
Yeah. Which is I was there just watching.
Yep.
I somehow convinced my wife, can we go up to Sydney to watch Toy Car? Oh. And she said yes. And that was great. I remember talking to several. Masami couldn't speak much English back then. Mm-hmm. Very, very little.
I do remember him. I think he was at a couple of events in the States.
Yeah.
And Christian Kyle as well.
Yeah, from Germany, yeah.
Christian Kyle was your nemesis, setting things on fire. He was really pushing the limits with batteries way back then.
For those that don't know, I managed to have a lipo fire at a race meeting on the weekend and burnt lots of things. And my legacy is forever going to be that.
We've got it documented now, but back in the day, there was no documentation.
No documentation. No, I've got it this time, and I'm copping it bad.
Yep.
But there could be worse things to be known.
Yeah, exactly.
Known for. I remember I remember his name, but he's obviously well out of it now.
Yeah. So, all those names. Chris Dosek was in there.
Yeah.
So and on those Gene Hustings videos, I said there's snapshots of all the placements of those events, so you can see the names. And there's video, there's...
It was great that Gene's done that.
Yeah.
I remember you telling me about this a couple of weeks back. I'm going to have to look at those. I keep forgetting.
So they're kind of dated too, so you can look for... But just brace for impact, sit down and watch them.
I'm guessing he's just done them all, and Curtis is the one that's probably put them all up.
Probably,
yeah.
Yep. So, but fantastic. Great memories. And the Lake Whipple, when I found it, he's up on pretty sure he's on the driver's stand, he pans around.
Yeah.
And I can see myself in 1987.
Yeah.
I'm like,
that's weird.
Yeah, it was very weird.
That's really weird. It must be still weird looking at the photos even.
Exactly. So, yep.
Because it wasn't the first time I saw you again was at the Keilor 30th anniversary when Defina and Les Bone talked you into coming along. I hadn't actually seen you for all those years.
Yep. I'd snuck out to a few other events. I've been out to Keilor and just sat out the back and out to Lilydale.
Well, you said that's a good thing because no one knows who you are until now.
That's right. So
now they're going to know.
So that's good.
But that's okay. But I've noticed you've been coming out a lot more. You're enjoying it again, aren't you?
I need another hobby. So getting too old to play with real cars.
Well, you can't get in and out of them so easy.
No, it's very difficult.
Because you had the big motorbike accident.
Yeah, had a bad accident in 1989. So anyway, so as you get older, all your injuries come back and slow you down.
Yeah. So you're what, 57?
57, 58 this year.
So I'm 10 years older than you.
Yep. But yeah, still.
Well, wait till you get to my age. Everything's worse.
Well, I think it was after COVID. I thought, I need another hobby, so I took up mountain biking.
Yeah.
Thought that was a great idea.
No,
So
that was a poor idea.
so anyway, so I still do that, so I quite enjoy that. But I'm not a very good mountain biker.
No. Will you be cognizant of the fact if you fall off, it's going to hurt you?
That's right. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, but yeah.
You're just getting older and older. You
Yeah.
just got to suck it up. Well, it's certainly been noticeable over the last 6 months or so. Every time I go to a meeting, you usually turn up.
Yeah, well, I follow you guys on Facebook.
Yeah.
So I see the events. Popped out to the velodrome.
Which is just so much fun.
And always funny, I don't remember ever racing at the velodrome, so it's probably after I left Australia.
Yeah, probably would have been.
So, but I had a great time driving your car.
Yeah, Craig drove my FSR 1/7 scale on 6S.
And I've got a couple of 10th scale Lucas agitators.
Yeah.
And I did buy an 89 Pontiac, and I ran an 88 Pontiac at Whippoorwill, so that was the closest I could find.
Yeah.
So I'm going to replicate that car
and run it at the
and
velodrome.
we'll take it out to the velodrome. So,
it'll be good. Do you get a real twinge like on the weekend looking at the 12 scales going, I want to have a go at that?
I look at them and go, I think it's beyond me now. So.
I was going to say, they're not easy to drive.
No.
And you know how quick you have to be able to react. So.
That's right. Yeah. But they're great to watch.
Yeah, it's good. I think it'd be interesting for you to have a run on one just to see how different they are, though.
Always up for the challenge.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll try and suck someone in and give me one.
Yeah.
Defeater's probably got a dozen.
Exactly right.
If not, I'll find one somewhere.
Yeah. Well, I did buy also, I found a Lucas 1/12 car, which are pretty hard things to find.
Yeah.
So
I've never seen one in the flesh, ever, because there'd be very few in Australia.
Probably none.
None.
I didn't bring mine back because my car always stayed with Lucas.
Yeah.
So the 10 scale car I have, and that's another early prototype car, but it's very, it's just a hand cut chassis car versus the production stuff.
Yeah.
But it's exactly the same, and there's a few different versions of the production 10 scale cars. And as I said, my 12 scale car was always a prototype car, 987-ish. And I've spoken to Lucas, so he's given me a few pointers, and we've got Andrew Cook on the job.
Yes.
Because I bought the kit at great expense, a new one. And is it the same? I don't actually know, but it's going to be close enough.
No one else will be able to tell you.
Yeah, that's right. So
it doesn't matter.
And I've got all the bodies that I ran, the World's Body, the Ranch Pit Shop, Invitational, all that stuff. Which I kept.
Yeah.
So we'll make them all go at some point. They may not go all the time.
Well, if you're not playing big cars now, you've got the time. Plus, anything you don't have time to do, you just give to Defina.
That's right.
Because that's what we all... Now, you've said Ranch Pit Shop. So, that's the sticker we've got here. Now, this car was given to you by...
I think it was... I can't remember, but... I reckon I got this off Gill Senior.
Yep.
Because I used
the
to
late
go and
Gill Senior.
See them quite often. Didn't live that far from there.
Yep.
And when I was leaving the States, I'm pretty sure that's when I got this car. I never raced this car in the States, but I think
it's worth 20 cents at least.
I think I used it here when I got back, and then a bit of a change of direction in life.
Certainly got, and this is the original 5-link rear end.
Yeah.
Which is this is the classic JRX2. So, and again, I hasten to say these cars are not for sale. You can come and look at them, but that's it. They will stay here until he dies, in which case then we'll sell them.
Exactly.
Well, hang on, that'll be before me, so I won't care.
If the wife has anything to do with it, it could be quite soon.
Yeah. Well, there's always a part of that, and this is a fantastic piece of history having this here, because these are. For some reason, Losi, which is now owned by Horizon Hobbies, have chosen not to jump on the re-release bandwagon. I have no idea. It just makes sense. They would sell a bazillion of these. Lou Solar would buy 50, at least. So I don't know why they've been so reluctant to do any re-release, to do this or do the double X. There's so many people want them, and I've never actually touched a Losi car until just now. I've never owned them.
Step out for
no, it's okay.
Short period of time?
No, I'm okay. It doesn't really excite me that much. because back in the day you were either a Losi man or an associated man.
Okay, yep.
I was associated in Kyosho, so
Yep.
I never liked these, and I don't know why.
Yeah,
But that's all right. It's the Holden Ford thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
All over again. You're a Holden man because that's what you've got lots of sitting at home.
yes. But yeah, great car. So, but as I said, didn't really race it that much.
No, but then you would have been sort of winding down a bit.
Yeah.
Actually, while we're doing those cars, let's bring the Shoemaker out.
This is a great car.
This is the first edition Shoemaker, so it's a short wheelbase, not the long wheelbase that Masami used at Romsey in '87. So this is the original one, and
It's got a zip tie on it.
it's got a zip tie on
but
it.
it does have the...
It's got the crashback front end, and most people would have no idea what that is. They had a couple of rubber bands here, and this pivoted here. You can see the pivot points here. So if you ran into something, which he didn't do very much, that would pivot backwards. Brilliant idea, really good. You put the zip tie on to hold it. That's a Novak servo.
Yeah, I got a 3 or 4 of those. So,
Yeah.
Plus all the old speed controls. So.
Yeah, this is the original. Now this was the one that had the integrator thing in it to change the ratio between the rear and the front. So you
slightly.
it was I could never work it out. I had one of these, but I never actually used it. I bought it off someone super cheap and just sat there. But these are super cool. Now they've never re-released the short wheelbase one. They did the Masami edition of the XL, so that was available for a short time, but don't think they've re-released the Pro Cat, because I've got one. I sold it to someone because I remember trying to put them together, and the universals were a pain in the ass.
Yes,
so
they are a pain in the ass.
And I remember thinking, I can't be bothered, I will never ever build this, so I sold it to some guy whose name I've forgotten, but he's in Darwin and he's coming down for the bash.
Oh, good.
So I'll get to see it again. Painted by you?
Yeah, yep. So,
Dude, you've got some skills.
the
I mean,
aerosol can.
But that's not easy to get that right, because I've got to paint your new shell.
Okay, so done.
Yeah. So
Because all my old cars in Australia were red.
Yeah.
Red and gold and white, with very little paint on them because the paint was heavy.
Yeah.
Especially for a 12-scale car. And
that's
then I
true.
Changed to black and various others, and the later cars were black, white, and fluo orange and a blue colour from memory. So,
Okay. All right. What you're going to get from me might have a bit of all of those.
Done.
I don't know.
Yep.
You don't care, as long as you don't have to do it.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Always up for a challenge. So.
Nah, I'll get hold of that, so we'll rearrange those so they look nice. So, again, to say to people, these are in the display cabinet. We've got them outside. You can come in and have a look at them. No, we won't pull them out of the display cabinet for you because someone's going to run off with one, and we don't want that. So this is a great potted history of, well, certainly of your off-road exploits. Now, you've had a bit of a steer at the Vintage Bash.
Yep.
And it was...
Drove Aaron's car 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
Yep.
What car was that? I've forgotten.
I don't know.
You've no idea.
Wouldn't have a clue. He gave me the transmitter and said, drive this.
Yeah, well, that's what we do all the time. Here, drive this. And you just go out and drive.
Yep.
And it was good. And you're going to run this year, aren't you?
I'll run this year.
You're going to build, what are we doing? Works 91?
I think so.
Yeah,
Yep.
And possibly a new RC10.
Yep.
Well,
we'll do the upgrade of this guy. Can't say I'll use the same paint job. It's a bit outdated now, but anyway.
Nah.
So
that's all right.
So.
That's my job. The only thing I'm any good at now.
Yep.
All I can do is paint. So I'll be doing those. I'll try and come up with a theme that sort of encompasses what you've been doing over the years. So that'll be good. And you're going to run at Bowring.
So I've been told.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. We pretty much told you that. But well, there's an over 50s class.
That's good. I've just scraped in.
Yeah. So, which is a touring car and 17.5. So it's the same specs as the GT class, just with your touring car body shells. So, and we're going to hook you up with the Yokomo RS2, which you've seen Brett's car on the weekend, and it was...
Yeah, it's great.
It was dialed.
Yep.
Absolutely dialed. So, and it doesn't cost you a fortune. We can put you into an MS 1.0, which you saw Brad and John have. But that's not a Bowring car.
Okay.
Bowring is like the old days, not forgiving.
I've driven past it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does look quite harsh on the, if you miss the corner.
Yeah, you need something that's a little bit
Yep.
more forgiving and
Yep.
going to hang together, so the RS2 will be perfect. And you're going to get to build a car for the first time in
Exactly.
how long?
A long time.
A long, long time.
Would have been in the States, so, 87, 88.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you have tools?
Yeah, I've still got all the tools and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we sold our family property in 2021 into COVID, unfortunately, I didn't realise how popular RC car racing was again. I threw so much stuff out.
No, there were people crying now watching this. No!
I had every issue of RC Modeler and Airborne, so all went in the skip, and boxes of, all the pinion gears and spur gears, all that stuff, and in the skip. The wooden box I carried all around the world with all the stickers on it in the skip.
Yeah.
But I kept the box of all the bodies. So I've got the Whippoorwill 12 scale body, the World's bodies. I think I've still got brand new RC10 bodies and wings floating around. Yeah.
You may have heard the people outside there.
So lots of those little things. But
I'm glad you kept that, at least that.
I've got the speed controls, and obviously no good to use, but great for this type of thing.
There was the very first bash, Rory Cull from England was running in that, and Rory obviously top 10 in the world many, many, many years ago, and he was trying to use old electronics with lipos.
It didn't last.
There was a lot of unpleasantness.
I could imagine.
A lot of unpleasantness. He said, "You reckon it'll work?" There's only one way to find out, but I suspect it won't. And it didn't. They all got fried.
You see a lot of the stuff come up for sale on Facebook and those sites, but I've still got all the original stuff, so great to put in a car for a display.
Yeah.
We'll bring the 10 scale on-road Lucas car in, and the 12 scale when we finish that one, and the old RC12L as well. Yep.
Because there'll be people that are dying to see that stuff. The Lucas cars, like I said, I've never ever seen one, so I'm very keen to see that sort of thing. So that'll be good. It'll be fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's more important is it's good to see you coming out with us hanging around in the tent and talking shit.
Yeah.
And you got to sit and talk to Timmy about
Yeah.
Old cars.
Real cars. Yep.
Yeah, old
Yep.
old Porsches and stuff. So that's fun. And he said, "Oh, great, it was great." So he was a happy man too.
Yeah.
And you didn't see me set anything on fire, but you know, maybe next time I can do it.
Can do an encore performance at the next one.
Yeah, I'd rather not. It was even at the prices I pay here, it's still an expensive.
Still
it was an expensive day.
Right.
That one for me, but that's all right. I don't mind.
Perfect.
Could be a lot worse. So it's going to be fun. We'll probably have to sneak out to Bowring before that day.
Easter's coming up.
Yeah, I think. So we'll need to make sure that
Exactly.
because you're not going to just go straight out and.
I've not driven an on-road car since I left the States in '88.
Yeah.
So.
And there've been a lot of changes in the four-wheel drive touring car now, fully gooped up. It's got grip beyond.
We'll certainly look forward to it. That's for sure.
But you saw what Brett's RS2 was
fantastic.
like, and it was just dialed. You couldn't fault it.
It was very good.
Yeah, really, really good. So we've got one of them. So I've got the appropriate same body shell. You'll get the squishy bumper like Brett has.
Yep.
So we've got one of those as well, and we'll mount the body 6mm forward.
Yep.
Bit more steering.
Done.
I tell you that I don't do any of that for myself because I can't tell the difference.
Yep. I probably can't either now.
No, for me it's like, oh, I didn't crash that lap.
Yep. Yeah, that's the. I think that'll be the goal.
And I'm happy with it. But Bowring's good. It's got a really tight little technical track. Once you get back in the groove, I think you'll enjoy it.
I'll let it work or it won't. So I think we'll be fine.
Yeah. Oh, it will be fine. It'll be good fun.
Yep.
Just because the whole point for me of RC, at my age, I'm not any good anymore, but I don't care.
No.
For me, it's about going down, and as when you're hanging around with us, it's sitting around the table talking shit with your mates.
Yep.
And that was the defining thing behind the vintage bash. It's not about racing; it's about sitting around and talking shit.
Exactly. And the last one was great.
Yeah.
I was still walking around, looking at all the stuff and remembering bits and pieces.
Yeah.
It's
great to see so many people just so enthusiastic about it all. I really do enjoy it. It's a great thing. So that's coming up this year. So in 6 weeks or so, you got to put your race face on.
Look out. So
you'll be fine.
It'll be.
You'll be fine. You'll probably still beat me. Although that's not.
There's a challenge.
That's nothing to hang your hat on, to be honest. It's
We've got
not
to beat
all that
Brett.
good.
He seems okay. So
Yeah, well, Brett only runs every couple of months. Oh,
Yep.
we're running this Friday night at Geelong.
okay.
If you can be bothered driving down
Okay.
there. So that's a really good and nice little indoor track at
Yep.
Geelong.
We used to race down there as well.
Yeah.
At the Greyhound track.
Yeah, well, that's where it is.
Yep. So yeah, nothing's changed.
No, just that it's now a full-on permanent thing. You can go down there at 2 in the morning if you want and practice.
Fantastic.
You don't even have to wear clothes. Although, hang on, that could be just me.
That
That could be just me. We've been going for an hour. I've managed to get through the hour without wanting to go to the toilet, and I'm still good. So
Fantastic.
that's for a man of my age, and I'm still standing up. I thought my knees would have given way. We've barely scratched the surface, but I know you're going to talk to Scotty Guyot, who will he will grill you beyond all belief.
That'll be good. It'll drag out a few.
He'll
more
drag
memories.
out more stuff, but he also does preparation for the interview. My
Yep.
preparation was getting on the train and coming in here.
Likewise.
Yeah, so we didn't. Plus, I've got the cars, and you won't. Scotty won't have that. But Scotty's the man. He will do the thing, and I look forward to that one because I'll find out more stuff.
Yeah, I did shoot a message to Scotty the other day, so he was tied up because I was in Brisbane earlier this week. But
Yep.
I think we're penciling in towards the end of May.
Yep.
So they're looking forward to that.
He does some really, really great stuff. He's interviewed me a couple of times.
Yep.
He's had to edit it heavily for obvious reasons. So that was good. We look forward to having you out at the track in a few weeks' time. That will be good fun.
Look forward to it.
So from me and from Craig, we'll sign off for now. You'll get to see more over the coming weeks as we get his car built and then we take it out racing. It's good to have someone back enjoying themselves again because you're too old and decrepit to run big cars anymore. Thanks for watching. There'll be more to come. See ya.